What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And the movie I want to take a look at right now is Studio 666. Now, this one comes to us from Open Road Films, and it hits theaters this Friday, February 25th, if you want to see this movie, regardless of what I'm about to say. So, going into this, what the hell is this? I remember when I saw the poster for it, I pointed at it and I was like, that's got to be Dave Grohl. If it's not, then someone found a crazy doppelganger of Dave Grohl, right? And then when you read into it, you're like, no, this is the Foo Fighters, and they're in a horror comedy. What are we doing here on Earth, people? I never thought in a million years that I would see a movie like this. But anyways, what is this movie about? Legendary rock band the Foo Fighters move into an Encino mansion steeped in grisly rock and roll history to record their much anticipated 10th album. So when they get there, Dave Grohl is the lead in the film, as he is the lead in the band. And so he actually finds this little shed in the back of the mansion. And it's very Evil Dead vibe, where he picks up a book, not a book, but he finds like an audio recording. He plays it, but there is a book involved, so that's where I got confused. But he ends up becoming possessed by this song. And it's very thrashy, very 80s metal, and it's very hardcore. So he brings it back to the band, they start playing it, but he starts becoming really obsessed with the song, and then the demon's taking him over, and he starts killing his band members. That's where we're at, folks. This whole premise just makes me laugh. And so is the poster. But I never knew what it was going to be in terms of tone. I never knew if it was going to be a horror comedy, if it was going to be like more serious horror, if it was going to be a allegory on like the music industry. I have no clue what they were going for. Like some like deep, like enriching, like thoughtful piece on the music industry. I had no clue. I didn't watch any trailer. I just wanted to go into it because I was like, this has to be a horror comedy, right? I saw it, and it is. I had a blast with this movie. It's so much fun. And Dave Grohl is a huge fan of Evil Dead. He has to be, because he came up with this story. It's very Evil Dead vibe, more specifically Evil Dead 2, because that movie in that franchise leaned in more into the horror comedy and more of the absurd aspects about it. He does that with this movie in terms of crafting the story for it. So let's go ahead and break it down by both sides of the genre, right? The horror and the comedy. The horror side is pretty great, actually. The special effects and the practical effects and the blood effects, the gore, it's all really well done. It's so over the top and ridiculous. So it satisfies horror fans that are looking for, the gory, over the top, violent type of films, but also the comedic ones too, because they're so over the top and ridiculous that you can't help but laugh. But the practical effects are actually on the deaths themselves are really outstanding, and they were really gross and kind of creeped me out a bit. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. I don't know what the budget was on this, but they really put an effort to make it really feel like you were feeling these limbs being popped off and heads being crushed and sliced and stuff. So, from that standpoint, in terms of like the blood and the gore, really well done. As far as the actual horror goes, and like being legitimately creeped out in some scenes. Now, it's not going to be like 100% like, serious in tone, because there are some comedic aspects to it. But what about the horror? Is it suspenseful? Is the mystery engaging? What is our scope on this? It's not anything new when it comes to story, but I will say there are legit creepy scenes in this. Very unnerving imagery that has to deal with like the demons and like what Dave is being possessed by, and like just the things floating around the house. It was actually really well done in terms of blending in practical people and makeup and effects to CGI elements to just kind of enhance the suspense a little bit. I kind of liked it. And so there were a couple scenes that were really well framed and really well positioned and really well edited together that legitimately creeped me out. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. So then you flip over to the comedy side. And I think this is where maybe a lot of people will dog on this movie, just because it is a horror comedy. It is. It plays to both sides. The horror side being done very well, in my opinion. The comedy side, I think, works about 75% of the time. There's about a quarter of this movie where the jokes just really don't land. They feel kind of almost scary movie spoof level, while at the same time trying to be its own thing. I don't know. It really didn't work with the, I guess, the goofiness of the comedy, taking it to like the extreme of like spoof level territory. Some of that stuff didn't really work for me, and some of the dialogue that was spewed out, just like that joke was thrown out, it landed, and it was a humongous thud. But I'd say like 75% of the time it worked. And what really worked were the Foo Fighters. They are the glue to this movie. So how were their performances? It was a bit rocky at first, but they all found their footing. One of my favorite ones was Pat Smear. Now, you have to understand, I am aware of their music. I am musically challenged, which is funny because like I was in band for like the majority of my youth, right? But like I don't know much about like specific band members or like, you know, faces to names. I don't know any of that. So these were all new to me, except for Dave Grohl. Obviously, he's the leader of the band, but like I've been aware of their songs for years, but I don't know what their band members look like. I don't know what they sound like. And so seeing them like perform in a movie was bizarre, because at the beginning all of them were pretty stale. I was like, oh no. So even if this movie is technically fun, their performances aren't really working for me. But what's really interesting is that they all found their footing throughout the movie. As the movie progressed, they got more into their, I guess, their selves, aka their characters. But they all looked like they were having a blast with it, which made me have fun with it. And some of their line deliveries, like towards the middle of the movie and like towards the end, they actually got me laughing. And I was like, okay, so these guys actually have like real talent being in a movie. Is this gonna give them like an Oscar for an Oscar nomination for their performance? Hell no. But I will say it, for their first one out, really well done. Some of the other band members that have like this dry sense of comedic timing really worked for me. So some of their lines really caught me off guard. For instance, Dave Grohl, let me just set up a quick scene. There's a scene where Dave Grohl is like playing a note, and it's something they've never heard before. They're like, what note is that? And he's just like, L sharp. And he's just like, L sharp, huh? So it was so good that you created a whole new note. Just stuff like that. That wasn't the exact line, but it was something to that effect. And it cracked me up. It's just the driest line delivery possible, mixed in with the fact that they're not real actors, that made it work for me. But it fits into that comedy environment that they're trying to go for, while also at the same time creating this like just gnarly, violent, over the top, bloody slasher film. So you know it works in that regard. But Dave Grohl, let's talk about him for a second. This man commits, because you're supposed to feel like something is possessed inside of you, and you're supposed to just kind of wreak havoc all over the movie, right? He takes it and he chews up that scenery as if he had a Charleston chew in his mouth and he was just going to town, just really hammering in on the absurdity in every single scene, with him getting more and more obsessed with what's going on. He was fun. He was so much fun to watch. All the other actors involved, especially with some of the cameos, just nice little fun surprises. Really nothing to note about. Whitney Cummings probably has the biggest role out of all of them. And she was fun. She is also part of one of the goriest and funniest scenes, I would say, in context with one of the Foo Fighters in a bedroom. Once again, what is this movie? Anyways, is this movie absolutely ridiculous? Yes, it is. Does it work for me? Yes, it does. It was actually like one of the most fun I've had watching a movie this year thus far. So I'll give it that. So Studio 666, I think, is actually a pretty good time. I mean, it like I said, is it some of the best acting you're ever going to see? No. Or some of the jokes fall flat? Yes. But if you were into movies like Evil Dead 2 in that type of style, I think you're going to really enjoy this one. So give it a watch. You know, if you don't want to go to a theater, see, just wait until it hits PVOD and go to town on it. You know, invite some friends over and have a blast watching it. I think it's going to be one of those movies. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. What can you say? So that will do it for my review of Studio 666. Thank you for watching this review or listening to it, and please comment down below whether you've seen this or whether you're excited for it. Do you like the Foo Fighters? I like the Foo Fighters, and seeing them in this capacity was very bizarre, but I enjoyed it. So let me know what you think about this movie and all that stuff down below. And that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.